Welcome to Subramani. Recently, I had to address a few 32-year-olds about what they should know about personal finance and what they should do. So I started by saying, make sure that your name is perfectly right in all the documents which are government documents. So whether it is your PAN card, Aadhaar card and passport, best is to have all the names in sync. Unless your name is very long and the passport authorities do not accept that full name, then you have a problem. But other than that, for everybody, make sure that your spellings are in sync, that you are Vishwanath, V in one place, W in one place, and these kind of things people have done in the past and made such mistakes. Make sure that these things don't happen. And second is, then I started by saying what all you should know by now, whether you are doing it or no, you should at least know these things, and you should now know it as a family, as a couple to start with, because if you're 30, 32, maybe you don't have, you obviously don't have old kids, right? You may have a 1-year-old kid, but not a 12-year-old kid. So maybe sit with your parents, your in-laws, your spouse, and discuss the following things, and make sure that all of you are doing it. Knowing it is different. Like I keep saying, Lord, Goddess Saraswati is the goddess of learning, but that's not enough. Then you need a Hanuman or a Maruti who will hold hand with you and make sure that you do it, right? You need a guru. And third, you have to have the blessings of Goddess Parvati, who is the goddess of wisdom, to make sure that you actually do it, right? So you need all the three. So knowing is not enough, doing is necessary. So what is the first thing that you should know? You should know how to make your budget and your cash flow, because can you imagine running a company without a budget and a cash flow? It's not possible. So similarly, you should not try to run your own life without a budget and a cash flow. Then you are in better control. Not that you are now struggling and borrowing on the 28th of the month to pay for things. No, you're not doing that. Maybe you're very well off. You don't have to do that. But once you have your goals written down, your budget and your cash flow, you will be much better. You will take better charge of your life, right? Second, by now you're 32, you should have built your emergency fund. Of course, if your father is also, parents are also well off and your in-laws are well off, then the need for emergency fund is reduced. It is just you and your spouse need an X amount, so that you have as an emergency fund. However, if there are more dependents on you, then the emergency fund size has to be bigger. I'm not getting into it because I've done separate programs on emergency fund, yes, but by 32 you know what is an emergency fund, how much you should have, where it should be kept, you know all that, and you are you're able to handle it. Third, debt management. Should you be borrowing to buy a house? Should you be borrowing to buy a car? Should you be repaying your student loans? All your debt management skills have to be in place by now. You should not just go and borrow because somebody is giving you money, or you should not just go and repay because somebody said you should not have a housing loan, right? So I have made other videos on this, so I'm not getting into the detail, but it is time that you know how to handle your debt, right? You should not borrow on credit card. If you borrow on credit card, you should repay it as soon as possible. You should live within your means and all that blah blah blah, which other videos have taken care of. That's already done. It's time you started looking at retirement savings, because 32 is the age when you start realizing that, I lost one friend to heart attack, I lost one friend to bad health, right, bad habits maybe. It's a time when you start re-looking at the amount of insurance you have. At 22, 23, you may have taken some term insurance, but right now you will look at reinsurance, taking more term insurance and medical insurance. And I always advise people to have medical insurance independent of what the company is giving you. A company has an agreement with an insurance company to cover you. If they break that agreement or something goes wrong in this relationship, you will lose cover. It's never worth depending on an agreement between A and B if you are C, right? Better to have an agreement between B and C. Have an agreement directly with the insurance company. You cannot depend on the insurance that a company is going to give you, or the credit card is going to give you accident insurance. These are not worth depending upon, right? By now you also know that you have to have your investment basics in place, which means how much money to put in equity, how much money to put in debt. Maybe you have a personal financial planner who is helping you, right? So you need to know what are your goals, how you are working towards it. It comes also from the first one, saying you should know how much is your income, how much is your budget, how much you are spending. From there you will know how much you are allocating to which goal, how much in equity, how much in debt, mid cap, large cap, whatever. All those breakup is already in place. You have the investment skills needed to manage your money, or you are hiring somebody who will manage it for you, but you are learning it, right? Because at some stage, even if you have an advisor at 32, by 37 you should be able to say, look, I can handle it myself, I do not need an advisor. What is the point in having an advisor if you are not learning from the advisor? So learn from the advisor. Make sure that your retirement path, investment path for your retirement, for your children's education, etc., are in place. Also keep looking at your credit score, because if your credit card is being misused by somebody, or if your credit rating is misused by somebody. I found somebody who would just responded to one unnecessary call and paid 20,000 rupees of a EMI of a loan which he had never taken, but somebody else had completely taken money from his account and run away, right? So these kind of things happen. So be sure that your credit score reflects only your transactions and your rating is as good as it can get, right? So maybe 750 plus is a good score and you are at 750, that's fine, but make sure that there are no mistakes in your credit report. It's a time also to review how much of insurance you need, right? So this is one thing which I find very common, that when a person is diagnosed with some illness, it could be some big illness, immediate reaction is, can I increase my insurance? Can I take a new medical insurance? Answer is no, you cannot do it after it has been identified, right? So make sure you take adequate term insurance and medical insurance when you can. When you must, you may not be able to get it, right? I cannot give a parachute to the guy after he has fallen off the plane. He has to have the parachute before that. So exactly like that, if you are prone to any kind of illness, make sure you have adequate medical insurance and you have adequate term insurance if you have children dependent on you, right? So good time to be reviewing your insurance time. Also, I think you know how much of insurance you should have, right? It's a time when you should also sit with your spouse and discuss what are the big purchases that you're going to make. When are you going to make? Within the next year, 2 years, 5 years, and it could be anything. It could even be college admission for your kids. It could be buying a fridge, buying anything big, reasonably big, where the installments go to 2-3 months or even 4 months, or something saying, okay, let me hold back my SIP for 4 months because I have to buy a fridge, whatever. Make sure that you're sitting with your spouse and discussing and then taking a decision. Fridge is no longer a very expensive thing for most people. It could be anything else. Could be a house, could be a bigger house, could be a vacation, could be anything. Just sit, think and start planning for those things. It's time that you thought about your taxes and see if you can do something, but today it's not really going to be it's going to be possible for you to do much about your taxation once you are in employment. Once you are in service, there is very little that you can really do. Once you're in practice, maybe you have little bit of more leeway, but there are certain things which you can do, like investing in your children's name, investing in your parents' name if you're sending money to your parents regularly, right? So those things. For example, if you're sending let's say 70,000 rupees to your parents every year, it's much better to put 10 lakhs in a fixed deposit in your dad's name and make sure that he, or your mom's name, and make sure that she gets 70,000 instead of you getting 70,000 and giving it to them, right? So some of these simple things. Look at your taxation, look at your personal taxation, what you can do, in what investments you can do in your children's name, what investments you can do in your parents' name, whatever. Take care of take other precautions. I'm not even saying that this is exhaustive, but it is also important that you make sure that your mental makeup is towards creating wealth and retiring peacefully. It's about mindset, it's about habits, it's about making sure that you are in the right time, at the right place, heading in the right direction where you want to go. This is not exhaustive. There are a lot of things which perhaps I have not added, but this is a good start. Once you have all these things, do comment in the comment box and then we will see what more to add. Thank you.